Making videos is confusing because I start recording one thing and then I suddenly have to go off to do a different video. What's happening there I can't include in the other video that I'm doing. Don't talk like that, it takes the mick out of people from Yorkshire. Just moving Eric about whilst doing this other video that you'll see maybe in a few days, and I spotted something rather alarming. Yeah, I did stop just there, so I wondered if it could possibly be Eric, and well, the answer is yes it is Eric. Suddenly Eric is bleeding all over the carpet. Well, actually not on the carpet but on the ground where carpet often lays. I can see what the problem is. The fuel filter has actually rotted through. It's going to need replacing. One of the jobs I decided I was definitely going to do with this car before getting rid of it was to do an oil service. Now I hadn't got any choice but to do it right now anyway. Normally an oil change would include warming the engine up as best as possible first, but not in this instance. You see, if I just leave it running, I could end up with no oil left in it and a great big puddle of black stuff on the floor that I've then got to clean up. In my usual unprepared way of doing even an oil change, I make sure I get underneath the car, decide which tool I want, go and get it, find it's the incorrect one, come back and forth a few times. I'm not exactly singing my praises here, but it feels like quite a healthy thing to do. 15mm ratchet spanner for the sump plug, but it's done up a bit too tightly. I don't want to break my ratchet spanner, so off I go again. They don't need to be done up that tight, it's simply unnecessary. So the question is, how easy is it to do an oil change on a Rover with an L series engine? Could you do it? Could the man next door do it? Could his auntie do it? Well, I can tell you it is actually a very easy oil change to do. First of all, you need to locate the sump plug, which is a 15mm nut, which can be taken off by turning it anti-clockwise until it comes off and drops into the oil. Try to avoid that because you'll get very dirty. You drain the oil off and put the plug back in. Then you take the filter off with a grabby holdy thing and you turn that anti-clockwise until it comes off. And then you simply replace it with another one. Easy, eh? Then what you have to do is top up the oil, and it's very important you do this with new oil once you're finished before you start the engine. Look how the lovely golden oil goes in there, like golden syrup or olive oil. Drizzle it in there, drizzle. Ah. Oh. Yes. It should contain about 4.5 litres. So put in 4.5 litres and then check the oil level. If it needs a bit more, simply put a bit more in. And you'll see this lovely golden olive oil colour yet again on the dipstick. Of course, when you start the car up, the oil will return to a sooty black mess. So the next job is to turn the key and hope it doesn't make a horrible clattering noise. If it does, then you've done something wrong, I'm afraid. Either or, it's just a diesel. And now, a little dilemma. What do I do with Eric? I've been using Eric now since February. In fact, just a little bit before that. And now the date is probably about the 16th or something like that. And I've got to decide what's happening next with it. As an everyday car, this is great because it's not precious, it's excellent on fuel, and it just generally does as it's told. My plan, if I stick with it, is to hang on to it now for another 11 days, and then it can go on the sawn whilst it's up for sale. But as you can see in its current state, it is filthy. But if I washed it now, by the end of February, it's going to be even more filthy than it is at the moment. Inside, it hasn't even been vacuumed out. The reason is I just keep getting little tasks flung at me that I wasn't expecting. And then such minor things as cleaning the car out or washing it tend to not happen. I have that replacement wing just up there, which currently is sonic blue. That could be put on there, but it would need respraying. Now that is more work for me to do that inevitably would have costs that I would have to pass on when it comes to selling it. So I need to kind of put it out there now that you could buy this car as it is. It no longer has an oil leak, it no longer has a coolant leak. It also has lots of screen wash. If I did that for long enough, I wouldn't have to wash the car. It's still light here. In fact, it will be for a couple of hours yet. And I just had the urge to do something nice with Eric, make him feel a bit more proud of himself for being such a lovely, reliable little car. So what I'm going to do, of course, is give him a wash. This will, of course, mean getting the big white bucket, giving it a good old rinse out and making it clean instead of full of grotty stuff, and then washing it. This is the area that I present my Mustard's car history from, and I still have quite a few to do on that. Back to that soon. Normally I do this thing where we've got dirty car then clean car, but this time I'm not going to bother. Who cares if I've washed it or not? Oh, I forgot to mention actually, I've had something else sent to me. A brake fluid tester. Sent to me, two there in case you want to send anything else. Look at that, it's another lovely gift from King Bolan. Now at some point I'll test that out, but it's just given me an idea. Why don't I have a special brake fluid testing game where we find out which of my cars has the nicest brake fluid. What's your money going to be on? Nigel, Eric, Alfie, Transit Face? I think it may be time for Eric to have its first ever vacuuming. I don't mean first ever, but the first ever from me. An interior this colour is going to show up every single stain, and it does have quite a few of them in there. This bit of carpet down there is wet. Look, not as bad as it was. I think the front is the front's not, so it's just there. It's good news. This has come out much nicer than I was expecting. So it's this carpet was soaked. It's still a bit damp, but I think all it was is this window being left open a little bit because it's still a bit wet there, but originally that was soaking wet. I reckon this car deserves a sticker. There, look at that. That makes this a proper Project Nigel car now. But it makes you wonder, why did this one go wrong? Why did you go wrong? Look, it's a proper sturdy handle. Proper good job. When it's clean it looks half respectable actually. Nice. Time for a little bit of no-nonsense sales pitch, I think. As usual, what happens, I do a bit of work on the car and it just makes me like it even more. I've never had a soft spot for the facelift 25 and I probably never will, but this one's working out better than I was expecting. It's just every time, every week that goes by, something else gets sorted on it by me. Because I've not had the time to do so. So I may well just offer the car up for sale as it is with its dented wing, and with a second option of it being a bit more fixed for some more money.